Middleman. Middleman. Middleman.
Welcome to the Middlemen of Jurors, a forum where public issues are put on record, examined with reason, and judged without sentiment. Today we turn our focus to Nigeria. 60 years after the first coup, January 15, 1966. Our nation, viewed through the lenses of 4 jurors determined to question power and demand accountability where it has been ignored for far too long. Juror Jumoke Alaode James questions the fairness of fiscal reform. In her case, Nigeria to tax poverty, she argues that taxing consumption in a time of hunger isn't reform, but extortion, warning that until governance improves and corruption is tackled, new taxes will feel less like nation building and more like punishment for survival. Juror Evans Ofeli interrogates power and political alignment in his case, the cartel of influence. He warns that when influence is coordinated to predetermined outcomes, democracy risks becoming a managed spectacle, leaving voters to question whether their ballots still carry real power. Juror Henry Gwebike challenges government's priorities. In his case, $9 million to save Nigeria's debased image. He argues that spending millions on foreign PR while insecurity and governance failures persist is misplaced, warning that reputation cannot be bought. It must be earned through real change. While I, Juremeka Madago, revisit constitutional economics, in my case, still on the 1999 Constitution, earn and share. I question a system built around sharing revenue without responsibility, warning that a constitution that rewards consumption over savings and investment traps Nigeria in debt and dependency. All these and more after this short break. Do stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Middleman. Middleman.
Thanks for still being there. My case, still on 1999 Constitution, earn and share. In the last episode, I raised concerns about perceived inadequacies in Nigeria's 1999 Constitution as amended. Today, let's address section 162(1) and 3, titled, the section is titled Public Revenue. It says in subsection 1 that the Federation shall maintain a special account to be called the Federation Account, into which shall be paid all revenues collected by the government of the Federation, except the proceeds from the personal income tax of the personnel of the armed forces of the Federation, the Nigerian Police Force, the Ministry, or Department of Government charged with responsibility for foreign affairs, and the residents of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. In subsection 3 states, any amount standing to the credit of the Federation account shall be distributed among the federal and state governments and the local government councils in each state on such terms and in such manner as may be prescribed by the National Assembly. Excuse me. Now, when you have a sharing formula that doesn't spell out responsibilities attached to it, you grow a feeding bottle system. When the sharing formula doesn't have any attached responsibility to save or to compulsorily keep a portion of the revenue for investment in areas that can protect the economy in times of adversity, what do you have? My verdict. President Bola Tinubu said in August 2023 that he has saved 1 trillion from the removal of fuel subsidy. Recently, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriations, Solomon Adiola, said it was actually 10 trillion annually that was saved. When you ask them where the money is, they point to increased allocations to states and local governments. Our debts have risen from 87.38 trillion to 152.40 trillion in under 3 years. I think something is not right with our style of constitutional fiscal federalism, which emphasizes sharing.
great. I think this should take us to where we used to be before now, especially the First Republic. How was things organized then? The 1960 independence, 1963 Republican Constitution had allowed for true fiscal federalism, and that gave birth to the principle of derivation and equally gave birth to distributable pool account. And the principle of derivation gives the opportunity to regions, then the four regions at that time, to get 50% or more of what comes from the region to become self-sufficient. Then it was a healthy competition between the regions. The southeast region at the time, or eastern region at the time, was known as they said at the time it was becoming larger in efficiency. They called them the Asian tigers, I would love to believe, or something. They were becoming bigger, then. And the southwest, the same thing. Every region was really doing so well, and that was because of the true physical federalism that was allowed at the time. The distributable pool account was excise money made from imports or exports that goes into the account and still shared with respect to population and needs of the region at the time, until we had the 1966 coup, which distributed or brought everything together at the center, and that has brought us to where we are today. People would say that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's tax and all that he's doing now is taking us back to the era of true physical.
Yeah, in terms of VAT, yes,
Exactly.
yes, the VAT.
But we do not know how that picture is painted to make it look the way it used to be. I do not know. Maybe someone will have to, help me make sense.
No. What is being said now is that, instead of derivation, as the case used to be, whereby your company's headquarters could be in Lagos, and VAT is, being derived from Port Harcourt. That now it is about attribution, that where that revenue is generated from. That was why
where it is shared to.
Yes, so there's a share there, and that was why the governor of Anambra State, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, said at a meeting with some stakeholders in the state, was it last year, that he was asking them to come that when they are registering companies, they should put the headquarters and the operating of, because when you're registering with the Corporate Affairs Commission, you have the registered office and the operating office, that they should put it in Anambra State, so that when you're talking about share of value added tax, because I was reading something yesterday that the Southwest is moving from 864 billion naira VAT to over 2 trillion. But the Southeast is going to lose slightly. The North, because of population, will lose significantly, but because of population, they may not really feel it. But again, that's why Northern leaders were complaining, in the debates over the tax
about
law
this tax
last
law.
year. Yes,
I absolutely agree in terms of that you get more allocation per population in each state, and you may be contributing less. So there are lots of controversial parts of this tax law.
Yeah.
I'm still talking about
maybe Barrister
the tax
can,
law.
help us dive in and tear it to pieces.
No, but I think that the sharing parts, which is how your case ended, is where we have a problem. Because it therefore means that some lazy governors who have resources in their states, but maybe the resources are on the federal list, or the governors themselves are lazy, will just go cap in hand every month and say, well, we didn't make any revenue. Oh yeah, we have population of 100 billion in our state. Oh yeah, give us this amount of money. Unlike if we were practicing true federalism, where each state had to generate its own revenue and contribute a percentage of that to the federal purse.
Yes.
Then you would have
like
no
in
excuse.
the First Republic.
Yeah.
Yes. My intervention to this is that we have a federal structure that is not serving the purpose. I mean, federal structure on paper. It's not. When you look at revenue, for example, you see how the federal government share these funds among states, then give additional funds to oil-bearing states. Now, you will think that oil is the only natural resources that we have in Nigeria. I mean, those other states that are not getting revenue from oil-bearing, that have other mineral resources untapped, not managed, not explored. Okay, if the federal government want to continue with this knee-jerk feeding bottle process, let it go and open up the revenue of other states. Because look at Zamfara, for example. The gold there,
This was
it's been managed by bandits and surreptitiously by state governments, wherein they steal. Okay, had it been that money is coming to the federation account, perhaps Zamfara will be getting additional revenue for a state that mine gold or that have gold. Okay, Delta get between 40 to 45 billion every month, just because when you add what it gets through derivation and the rest of that. So many of these states in the north that are complaining, arguing at the National Assembly, is misplaced priority. Their own mineral resources, which are untapped, they instead of them to agitate and push for it to be, that is not to say I endorse this kind of federal structure. You see, that federation account need not exist in the first place. It's states that are supposed to have that account and then put the federal government and then open a joint account with the federal government, so that when the resources come in, the federal government can oversight it and they can pay tax to the federal government. That's what they're supposed to have. What we have is the reverse. So in this case, federal government have over 68 items in the exclusive list that it has no competence on any of them. The only item on the exclusive list that the federal government have competence on is printing of the naira. That is the only thing that they have competence on. When you talk about ways of means, if you tell them in 1 week they can print 100 trillion in 1 day. But every other thing, even the defense that we say that is in the exclusive, look at what Ribadu is doing. Okay, instead of you to vote for funds to exterminate insurgency, you are entering an agreement with a country to quench the news, or to say it's Christian. That means that's Eric's case. Let me not
and then paying some bandits. It was
yes,
exposed that they caught some terrorists in Kwara State.
Yes,
they said they were armed by the state governor. The state governor said, but they were sent to us by the national security officer.
They said they are vigilantes. You understand? So this is the same man that traveled to the US to have meetings and all that. So I don't think the federal structure is working, especially now when insecurity has now caught up with it. I believe that if the states actually are independent, we would have ended insurgency. Because no state government will want, because if the state government have their own armed forces, they have their own police, they have their own everything. And not even armed forces, let's just say police. Let armed forces be the federal. And they have it at all levels, at the state level and the local government level. It will be difficult for you to have banditry fester. But because everything is controlled from the center, and the center have no competence in the sub-region to manage it, that's why we are in trouble.
Okay, we'll take a quick break, and when we return, Juro Jumoke Alaode James will be here to present her case titled Nigeria to Tax Poverty. Do stay tuned.
Middleman. Middleman. Middleman.
Integrity, where honesty flows like a river untainted. His edges of sacred truth is fortified by the solid foundation of reason, delivering a symphony of clarity that dances gracefully along the social-cultural spectrum. Innocent, an oracle of the common people, channels their pulse, imbibing the essence of their struggles and transforming them into the language of the streets. His enlightenment becomes a lantern, guiding those lost in the shadow, illuminating pathways once obscured as he breathes life into the collective consciousness. Henry Igwebike stands as a watchdog, a vigilant watcher of the tempest that permeates the fabric of Nigeria, a land once resplendent with the vibrancy of hope, now adrift in the murky waters of uncertainty. With a heart heavy, yet buoyed by fate, he ponders the fate of this great vessel, once sailed by the spirits of unity and promise, now battered by the storms of discord and strife. What port shall it find amidst the turmoil? Where does the compass of its destiny truly point? As waves of cynicism crash against its hull, as the sirens of turmoil sing lullabies of disillusion. In this pantheon of jurors, each voice rings out a chorus, weaving the fabric of a new Nigeria. Sit, relax, and enjoy the show. The middleman of jurors. The pantheon of jurors. In the hallowed halls of justice, where echoes of truth intertwine with whispers of despair, there stands Jumoke Alawode James, a radiant figure sculpted by the universe, with a beauty akin to a stallion galloping through fields of reckoning. Clad in the armor of eloquence, her voice pierces the thick veil of complacency, unraveling cases that cradle the very essence of Nigeria's collective agony. She stands a sentinel over a nation laid bare, beckoning it to rise from the ashes of its own dissolution, crying out for a redemption that dances just beyond reach. Next emerges Evans Ufeli, a sage, with a heart that beats in harmony with the rhythm of justice, an advocate driven by a fervent dream of egalitarian dawn. Each week, he unfolds a scroll of cases bestowed upon him by the wise rabbi, a craft woven with threads of profound thought and searing urgency. His lamentation for the plight of the people rises like a haunting melody, reverberating through a land where self-inflicted wounds twist the tendrils of allegiance into knots of a servitude, traded for nothing more than a pittance, a morsel of bread amidst the hunger of the soul. Then strides forth Emeka Madunago, a linguistic maestro, armed with knowledge as dense as the forest, each word a carefully sharpened arrow aimed at the heart of injustice. He ventures onto this hallowed platform armed with solutions, a veritable panacea for the ail of his compatriots. Emeka unyielding locks eyes with the elite, unflinching in his resolve as he speaks truth to power with the fervor of a modern-day prophet. He advocates for a class suicide, a radical act of severance from the vines of greed that choke the very life of Nigeria, prescribing this sacrificial rite as the only balm for the nation's festering wounds. Now, we bear witness to Innocent Aduluba, a custodian of integrity, where honesty flows like a river untainted. His edges of sacred truth is fortified by the solid foundation of reason, delivering a symphony of clarity that dances gracefully along the socio-cultural spectrum. Innocent, an oracle of the common people, channels their pulse, imbibing the essence of their struggles and transforming them into the language of the streets. His enlightenment becomes a lantern, guiding those lost in the shadow, illuminating pathways once obscured as he breathes life into the collective consciousness. Henry Igwebike, stands as a watchdog, a vigilant watcher of the tempest that permeates the fabric of Nigeria, a land once resplendent with the vibrancy of hope, now adrift in the murky waters of uncertainty. With a heart heavy, yet buoyed by fate, he ponders the fate of this great vessel, once sailed by the spirits of unity and promise, now battered by the storms of discord and strife. What port shall it find amidst the turmoil? Where does the compass of its destiny truly point? As waves of cynicism crash against its hull, as the sirens of turmoil sing lullabies of disillusion. In this pantheon of jurors, each voice rings out a chorus, weaving the fabric of a new Nigeria. Sit, relax, and enjoy the show. The middleman of jurors.
Middleman.
Thanks for staying with us. My case, Nigeria to tax poverty. 2 weeks into 2026, and Nigeria is still locked in a national argument over the new tax laws that were supposed to take effect on January 1. Government says it is reform. Many Nigerians say it is punishment. The finance ministry insists the taxes will widen the revenue base, but the economists, labor unions, and civil society keep punching holes in the numbers, pointing to rising food prices, weak wages, and a shrinking middle class. When inflation is eating salaries and unemployment is rising, new consumption taxes don't just hit the rich. They hit market women, transport workers, and families already choosing between food and school fees. So here is the real question. Are we taxing wealth, or are we taxing survival? When government collects more from people who have less, that is not reform, that is extortion. A Nigerian who lives in Germany listed what he gets for paying 42% of his income as taxes. It included free education all the way to PhD, ambulances within 20 minutes of his call, adequate health care, official stipends monthly if he loses his job, monthly stipends for his children, and so on. Asking what Nigerians who are expected to pay higher taxes will get. You may argue that we won't get all of these good things if we don't pay more taxes, but Nigeria has never been short of revenue and resources that can translate to more revenue. All of that brings me to my verdict. A tax system that deepens hunger is not fiscal policy, it is social injustice. Until government fixes waste, plugs corruption, and grows the economy, taxing the poor is both economically reckless and morally wrong. Nigeria does not have a revenue problem. Nigeria has a governance problem. And until that changes, every new tax will feel less like nation building and more like a bill for government failure. I will continue to remind you to register on citizenmonitors.com so we can at least fix the governance problem by digitally securing our polling units so we can get credible elections that produce credible leaders. Nigeria will succeed.
Well, Nigeria succeeding is, I think, should just be more than a buzzword. Because when you hear people say, God bless Nigeria, ask them, what is the meaning? Ask them, what's the meaning of that? Did God curse Nigeria?
Right.
I mean, Nigeria, every country is blessed. Look at Greenland. All snow everywhere. But look at how desperate Trump is to have Greenland.
Look at Finland,
Yeah, exactly.
the coldest country in the world. 2 million population. Guess what? 100% literacy level.
Do you hear the people
nobody's
saying,
out of school
do you
in
hear the
Finland.
people saying God bless Finland? You know, or maybe Barisa can tell us whether every day people say God bless, you know, where it is. But you see, to the point, the basic thing is just total, you know, irresponsibility and delinquency in governance. Yeah, because you see, we we've borrowed so much. Now we're at 152 trillion. And the government is still talking of borrowing more, taxing the people. You want to, I've never seen a government that sets up a policy and fights the policy. That's what you have with this government. You are trying to move people away from cash dependency to say, okay, let's do more online transactions. Then you now went to that same place to say 7.5 VAT. Well, what exactly?
7.5% VAT, right? Then stamp duty, 50 naira, as far as it is from 10,000 and above. Then the company too will now charge you for sending electronic transfer, and then also charge VAT on that charge.
So what exactly is Tinubu's economic agenda? It's difficult to understand.
There's no economic agenda. There's no economic agenda. Tinubu is saying that Nigeria must adopt international best practice to collect tax. But he fails to understand that the government needs to adopt international best practice to provide for the people.
God bless you.
Yes. Yeah, because you can't tell the poor to keep paying taxes, all kinds of taxes. And then you turn around, you don't even have the firewall, an economic firewall to protect the tax from being filtered by criminals. Okay, so at the end of the day, we're still going to have those tax collected and embezzled, including all forms of national income, as it is currently being embezzled, because there's no security for the tax. That is one. Two, you are pushing the poor into poverty the more. Civilized countries of the world, they do everything possible to take their citizens out of poverty. Here is a president who is old, unthinking, incompetent, unable to carry out the basic tenet of governance, dragging his people down the poverty line with so much confidence. When he was campaigning, he said he was going to reduce purchasing power, increase the tax net, you understand, and then bring everybody into captivity. That's exactly what he meant with those expressions. And I asked myself then, why would anybody want to increase and debase and punish? And is this a manifesto? Or is it a statement of caution? Or is it a death sentence or something like, are we all convicts that we get this kind of? Well, a lot of people didn't pay attention. This is a master strategist. There's a political juggernaut. It's this and this and that. So many literates doing analysis then about how some people say market forces, economic this, economic that, confusion. Okay? Look at where we are right now. Okay, we now have about 62% of the population below the poverty line. That is to say that if by any chance he wins the next election, he's going to take Nigeria to 90% poverty index, misery index. So then they will be left with just 10%. And the moment we hit 90%, meaning that 10% will not survive it.
Jesus.
90% will go after them.
Yes, and now 90% will eat the remaining 10% now.
It's unfortunate to say the least.
Very true. This over some time now, I've been doing lots of research and study and doing some comparisons of one nation against another. And I had the opportunity of reading about the economist Jordan O'Neill, the one who coined the acronym BRICS, right? Brazil, Russia, China,
South
India,
Africa.
and South Africa. And he said the reason why he brought that acronym was because these countries were promising, as against another acronym he coined PIGS.
They will.
Portugal, Italy, Great Britain, and Spain.
Spain, yes.
You understand? So he was comparing both and saying, now these PIGS are first world economies, but their performance were below par against the BRICS. And now, guess why he said the BRICS nations were performing better? Because of the way they treated their taxes. Those BRICS nations, from Brazil to South Africa, reduced their taxes by half. They reduced government spending deliberately so as to grow the economy, so as to stimulate the economy. Now, Nigeria, who that's not even amongst the BRICS, is
or the pigs.
or the pigs.
Pun intended.
Well, intended or unintended. Let's go.
That was the worst case scenario. We're not in the BRICS, we're not in the pigs.
Pun intended.
Maybe you want to create another acronym where Nigeria can be best fixed.
I don't tire, so they create acronym. They have abused me for all the words.
But that is the sad reality.
The sad reality. That's the sad reality.
So Abbas is gory. Is so debate that we're not growing the economy, we are increasing taxes, we're increasing government spending astronomically,
Expanding the bureaucracy,
non-chancing and anyhowness is at an all-time high. Our president
I mean, people justifying why the president has to spend the
more time
abroad.
outside than
Does Emmanuel
inside.
Macron travel like that?
Look, I always mention that I did not expect anything great from this administration. I think he did the best that he could when he was governor of Lagos State. There's nothing that he learned in the last 24 years that will make him, a great president. We will leave the conversation at this point. When we return, Juror Evans Ifeoli will be here to present his case titled The Cartel of Influence. Just stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Middleman. 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 Middleman.
Welcome back to the middleman of jurors. My case. The recent spectacle of former governor of Abia State aligning with Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, in what appears to be a concerted effort to thwart Governor Alex Otti's re-election, cast a long, uneasy shadow over the political landscape of the state. Politics in its healthiest form should be a contest of ideas and a marketplace of policies where the electorate, informed and empowered, chooses their destiny. Yet when the leaders
The punching of jurors. In the hallowed halls of justice, where echoes of truth intertwine with whispers of despair. There stands Jumoke Alawode James, a radiant figure sculpted by the universe, with a beauty akin to a stallion, galloping through fields of reckoning. Clad in the armor of eloquence, her voice pierces the thick veil of complacency, unraveling cases that cradle the very essence of Nigeria's collective agony. She stands a sentinel over a nation laid bare, beckoning it to rise from the ashes of its own dissolution, crying out for a redemption that dances just beyond reach. Next emerges Evans Ufeli.
Welcome back to the middleman of Euros. My case, the cartel of influence. The recent spectacle of former governors of Abia State aligning with Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, in what appears to be a concerted effort to thwart Governor Alex Otti's re-election, casts a long and uneasy shadow over the political landscape of the state. Politics in its healthiest form should be a contest of ideas and a marketplace of policies where the electorate, informed and empowered, chooses its destiny. Yet, when the lever of influence are pulled behind closed doors by a constellation, results can feel less like democratic competition and more like a choreography of power designed to preserve both dominions. Such an alliance, whether born out of genuine conviction or tactical necessity, risks creating the impression of a political cartel that privileges continuity over influence and a renewal of popular mandate. My verdict: there is something innately quietening about seasoned political figures converging to unseat a sitting governor, not primarily through a battle of program and competence, but through mobilization of networks and resources that may sideline the grassroots voice. The optics are fraught. Citizens who yearn for accountability and transparent governance can be left wondering whether their ballot is an instrument of change or merely an element in a larger game of patronage and realignment. I shall go to Rabbi again.
Former Abia State governors coming together, and it's really funny, is that they are claiming that Alex Otti is painting the roads that they built.
They've been repainting.
We saw the pictures of the roads where they built it. Oh, pigs used to walk on the street, filth everywhere. If you were riding on one particular expressway that they show us former picture and current picture, current Porter, God bless you, Oga, you know the road.
I know Abia State very well.
Port Harcourt Road, you'll be swimming in river. It used to be like a river, you know, go see tar. Now we are seeing tar, 3 lanes on each side. Then Governor Ipeazu, when they asked him when he was governor, that what have you done for Abia? He said, women in the hospital, when they give birth, we give them 500. Maokwe Ogun was starstruck. Sir, did you say 500? Says yes. Do you want to ask what 500 would do for a poor woman? He was very happy to also say that he brought which eatery.
It was with them.
So now they now have a governor that is building all the roads that all of them put together never built. That is building roads, equipping schools. That's why all of us are shouting. Buses. Why all of us are shouting, electricity is killing us. He just started generating their own electricity, and then after building the good roads, now give them electric buses. Abias were going on free bus, free train during Christmas, and were praying for their governor. All these ones are now saying, we are coming back together. Abia is going to APC. They don't care anything for their people. It's about politics and politicking. Is Oji Uzor Kalu that was jailed for 12 years for misappropriation just because somebody now just looked at him, they carried the matter. He was jailed at the High Court, he was jailed at the Appeal Court. It was Supreme Court who now said he didn't have a case to answer. Somebody who was already in prison, I think he spent 3 or 4 months in prison. He's now a senator. He's now coming to come and talk that they want to take back.
He would work night and day.
So take the people
on the streets.
So take the people back.
No, I
to
think
poverty.
I think Oji Kalu used to be my boss. He was my chairman. But if he's watching this, I'll tell him that there comes a time in a man's life when, if he has never respected himself since he was born, he should begin to respect himself. He should begin to respect himself. And at this stage, I will be very sad if my former chairman is messed up. Because it is getting to that. Yes. When children who are the age of your grandchildren, are using the medium they have, which is social media, to cast aspersions at you, to actually bring up things that happened in your region when maybe they were little children, you should begin to know that, you see,
you can't tell us, you can't come and tell us lies.
You are beginning, like that song, Egungun, be careful now. Express,
he don't enter express.
He don't
enter express.
So whoever is handling the Egungun to draw him.
Alex Otti's train will crush him. All of them together.
Ikpeazu was a total failure in Abia State. He should just admit Ikpeazu, he was really at the back. Was a big failure. Now, Alex Otti has come to make a difference. Somebody was arguing with me one time. I told him I was right in Abia. Somebody in my, alumni association of my secondary school heard that Otti was not doing it. I told him, I said, my friend, as he argued with me, I went for my in-laws burial in Abia State. And I'm standing right here in Umuahia. If you want, I can do a video. I'm in Umuahia. And I traveled on the road, leading from Umuahia, leading up, Ohafia, road, which he was expanding. I said I could see it myself. You sit in Lagos and you are arguing against me. I told him to just get out.
You remember one Oji Uzor Kalu bridge that he said that the Mami Water did not allow.
No, that was the same Ikpeazu. He said Mami Water did not. What is it? But Alex Otti
has built the bridge. Mami Water did not hold.
You see the sad thing with these people. It is part of the revisionism of all the people. You see, and that is why. Let me tell you. When people shout marginalization in this country, when my people shout, I tell them, you don't have an argument. You know why? Yeah. When there are opportunities to bring out people to represent us, who are those we bring out? If we say that Tinubu is, is an ethnic, bigot, which is clear, how do you counter it? If you bring out your best 11 against Tinubu's,
What's 11?
Look, he will be forced to correct it. Why? Because if you bring somebody, you were talking about ambassador appointment. This is a state that actually begged Obasanjo, please, Okonjo-Iweala, we know she's not from Abia State. Her husband is from Abia, she's from Delta. But please, put her name in Abia. To represent Abia.
She's our wife.
Even though she was a special candidate, but please put it there that she is representing Abia.
Our wife.
Right?
She has become Abia.
If they could bring somebody of that caliber,
how
can you now go and bring your daughter as an ambassador nominee? What are we talking about? So that's what I tell my people. Look at, we have Osakwa. We are talking of seaports in the southeast. And it's doable because the stories have been there right from the time of Michael Okpara. There was an economic plan that was drawn up. Now, these things are right there, which they should sit down and say, okay, this is what we're asking from President Tinubu. We have the only disco in Nigeria, out of the 11 discos, the only disco that also has a Genco. And the first and the only one.
Actually, in Nigeria.
There's no other disco. Yeah. That's okay. President Tinubu, we have this, right? Let us expand the coverage of this. Benjamin Kalu is there, Deputy Speaker. We have this disco. Please, let us expand the coverage to Abia. Let's even see if we can get it to Enugu and some other place. You are not doing that. The railway running from Port Harcourt to Aba,
One gauge.
that's supposed to single gauge, that's supposed to have got to Enugu and be heading to Maiduguri now. It has even the one that was existing, Port Harcourt to Aba, is comatose.
You see, Emeka, this actually.
So what kind of human beings are these?
You know, this actually.
They should be very careful because look, let me tell you, if they should get ready to kill Nigerians, if they think that rigging will happen in 2027,
It will not happen.
we are ready to die.
It will not happen.
We are telling them now, all of you,
Rig and die. Rig and
we are
die.
ready. We will take back this nation.
Rig and die.
Enough of this nonsense. You are putting your children. You are putting your children who don't know anything. We will meet at the polls, and they will tell you people that this country doesn't belong to you. Enough of this nonsense.
I agree.
Look at what is happening in Abia State. I'm a witness to what Alex Otti has done. Yeah. I know they've hired some, non-entities, some non-entities in Nollywood, talking nonsense. People who don't even have the moral standing to come out in public to say anything.
God bless you, sir.
And then they are coming to talk rubbish.
You know, the worst of them all, actually. I call those three the frivolous three musketeers. That is Ojo Kalu, Theodore Oji, and Ipazu.
The last man.
Yes.
Oh,
so these
God.
are just people. They are of no significance whatever. But what is even aching me the most is the man who calls himself. They call him Benji.
Benjamin.
Yes, he's now Benji, the fine boy.
Oh.
You know, he once said that the people of Abia should tell him, is he not fine enough? As in handsome enough
to become a governor.
Become a governor.
Is he handsome?
Look at what the speaker.
So you can see
What the speaker is doing in Zaria. What the speaker of the House of Reps is doing in Zaria, his constituency. Has Benjamin Kalu done up to 1% of what the speaker is doing?
I blame the media to an extent. Last week or last 2 weeks, he said he was giving out 1 billion naira to SMEs. Right? Now I researched to discover that none of that money, not one kobo, came from him. It was a partnership of Central Bank of Nigeria, Bank of Industry, Smeden, Bank of Agriculture. All right? So all those things they have had over the years to help SMEs is what he is now riding on to say he is providing 1 billion naira.
You know that they are used to it. Constituency project, they will make it seem like that he wants funding it.
Look at these people are sitting. We were talking of tax the other time. Now, these same people are sitting there. While Lagos, now, I just read today that they are going to set up, the government is going to set up a gold refinery in Lagos. Lagos again, that's getting so much federal attention. Is still going to get a gold. Why? Because the governor, those who should, the politicians who should do better, they don't know better, they don't know anything.
I didn't know this case was going to generate this level of passion.
No,
I think I was the only one who was troubled by this. But you know what Ojo Kalu and his cohorts are doing? That has been their intention for a very long time. Ojo Kalu wants to be Senate president. And he wants Tinubu to make him the Senate president. Let me just give you the conspiracy. The grand design. Now, he wants Tinubu to make him the Senate president. And they have promised Tinubu that they are going to deliver Abia State to him for the next election. So what they are doing now is not because of the people or they want to bring somebody better than Alex Otti or whatsoever. What they are doing is to design a plan, orchestrate it in such a way that they will seat this man. They have threatened him before that he should join the APC because they have promised Tinubu that they will deliver Abia to Tinubu. They threatened him, he refused. He didn't go to APC, he didn't go to ADC. He remained there. Now, during the election that brought Alex Otti to power, remember, these same persons were the one that orchestrated INEC. If not for that woman, that university lecturer who refused, Professor Nena, who refused to thwart the process at the time when pressure came on. That pressure came from Benjamin Kanu, the current
Deputy Speaker.
From Ojo Kalu and Theodore Oji. Now, Theodore Oji, when he was in the House, his only contribution to the National Assembly for the 8 years I think he was in the House was that the National Assembly should pass a bill for there to be what they call Chartered Institute of Politicians, so that politicians So that, yes, a chartered institute of politicians, so that politicians will become chartered. That is due to become chartered. That was his only contribution. For budget
Full-on
increase, he
career
has
in
nothing to
politics.
say. For economic growth, he has nothing to say. For projection, he has nothing to say. He didn't head any committee. His contribution was just
To
so.
be a chartered politician.
So that state has been so unfortunate, for a long time.
That's
And
what
now
I
that they
wanted
have
to
a
say.
leader that is
The
forthright,
Southeast
instead
for a
of
long
them
time, actually.
to project the image of that state, given what is happening there now, they are going the other way around, and that is the most unfortunate.
The Southeast has actually been very unfortunate. Anyway, Juror Evans, we will round up your case at this point. When Juror Henry Igwebike comes back, he will present his case titled $9 million to save Nigeria's debased image. Just stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Middleman. 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 Middleman.
Thank you for staying with us. My case, $9 million to save Nigeria's debased image. In reputation management, crises are not avoided, they are confronted. Effective leadership acknowledges failures, addresses root causes, and reassures both domestic and international audience through transparency and reform. Nigeria's current approach under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, however, appears to be taking a different path. Better than tackling, or rather than tackling, the persistent issues of insecurity, killings, and governance deficit head on, the administration reportedly chose to spend millions of US dollars on foreign lobbyists and public relations firms to launder the country's battered image abroad. The reported $9 million earmarked for these papers raises troubling questions. Can image laundering substitute for meaningful action? Is the big question. Can expensive PR campaigns outweigh the daily realities faced by citizens who live with fear, economic hardship, and eroding trust in the state? Another question. Tinubu's apparent quest for international validation at all costs risks reinforcing the perception of a government more concerned with optics than substance. Ironically, Tinubu's long-standing attack against Goodluck Jonathan boomeranged early. And today, he has realized that global audience are not merely persuaded by glossy narratives, they are convinced by measurable improvements. My verdict: spending millions to polish Nigeria's image without first fixing its underlying problem is a costly miscalculation. Reputation follows reality until security, governance failure, and accountability are addressed. No amount of PR spending will truly rescue Nigeria's standing at home or abroad.
Thank you very much, Juror Henry, for this case. 3 things quickly. Number 1 is when they were going all over, hugging any mic that they saw in 2014, debasing Nigeria, right? And criticizing the Jonathan government for insecurity. They forgot that Passion Tafi Noyawu, that's the cane that you used to beat Iyale, the first wife, is at the back of the door for the new wife. So they are now getting the heat and the pressure, and they forgot that they were the ones going everywhere to complain about insecurity in Nigeria 10, 11 years ago. Number 2, under the same President Jonathan, right, we have tried this formula before. Professor Dora Akunyili, fantastic at doing what she was doing at NAFDAC. They made her a minister and gave her information as portfolio. She wanted to change our reputation and started the campaign of Nigerians, good people,
great people, great
nation, great people. Yes. We just looked at her with one eye and said, Madam, you were very good with drugs and administration. But you see, these great people is first to provide the good governance that will make us great before you start calling us great. It's not to just paint a pig or put lipstick on a pig. The last one is, and I will just keep on repeating myself on this one, that I did not expect anything of this administration. So they are complaining about Christian genocide. That one no concern you. Be it Christian or Muslim, that they are killing everybody. Your own is to now go and spend money that you can even use to buy ammunition.
13 billion.
Or pay salaries of your, motivate your military men. And say, oh yeah, go and fight this. No. Your own is to go and use it for PR. Ah! We that Nigeria. Who do Nigeria? Who do Nigeria this strong thing?
I think the likes of Ribadu and the rest of them who spearheaded that invidious contract must be brought to book. They criminally took Nigerians' money to go and involve in that kind of contract. Which is easier, to spend that money to end insurgency or to enter into a contract to end insurgency, and to enter into a contract to damage or to repair the image, to say no, it's just let them know that it's Christian and Muslim that is being killed. Who is that narrative for? And then the company that entered that contract with them will just be smiling, because these are fools.
Easy money.
What are they going to do? When they collect that huge amount of money, they publish in their newspaper, they show evidence. They do TV programs and press conferences. They show evidence that they are telling the people that it's Muslims and Christians that are being killed. And so how does that solve the root cause? How does that solve the problem of insurgency? You think by placating the situation, then that will free you from liability? Your image is damaged already. What you're supposed to spend money on, spend money on to exterminate the menace.
Very true.
To approach the problem. So why window dressing what because of what people say, what people think about us and the rest of that, so that will make us what? Even countries that have no insurgency are being put on a ban list for this. If America you're looking at, everybody's on a ban list. You have police on a ban. So that you are wasting that money. They are wasting the money. So I don't know how they think. And it's because this money is so much with them that they can act. And is that money appropriated for? That's another question.
It wasn't.
It was not so.
Or they want to
That's
tell
what
us
I'm saying, though.
It wasn't appropriated.
Yeah.
Misappropriation of funds.
It was not appropriate. Yes. So they are criminally liable for that. And somebody should go to court to ask to another of mandamus that contract be rescinded. That contract was not entered into in the interest of Nigerians.
Barrister,
and did the contract comply with Section 12 of the 1999 Constitution? Because the contract did not comply with Section 12 of the 1999 Constitution, which says that it has to be adopted by the National Assembly. Okay, and it has to go through certain processes at the National Assembly before you even pay out funds and the rest of that. They've gone and they paid this money and they are wasting our resources. And this is why they are going to spend the tax.
Imagine.
Exactly. That's how
You tax the poor. You tax the poor and be misappropriating.
This year already, I've done a couple of transfers. Okay, and when I pay, I do transfer. You can imagine me paying salary with transfer, and they're collecting all this money and putting together to go and give. My money is in that money that they've used to go and pay this.
Yes, so.
And this is unfortunate.
It's sad, really, the priorities of those people, because they don't really even realize whom they are dealing with. It's Donald Trump. They're not dealing with Joe Biden.
Joe Biden.
Who was very sick, who had a magic pen, and they are not dealing. They are dealing with a hands-on administrator, who already has banned 15 of the countries that are eligible for the World Cup. He has even banned them. So there's even a problem of those of their fans, even of their players entering the US. And then there's even the issue that the World Cup tickets are overpriced. People are saying that the FIFA president Giovanni Infantino, has sold himself to Trump. and so that the World Cup should actually be cancelled, because even Mexico and Canada, that are supposed to be
Their neighbors.
Donald Trump has been threatening them. So that was the point.
How would they now work together?
What's the point of the World Cup?
So what's the point of you paying 9 million to go and lobby such a
Yeah,
person?
because the thing is, you will end up with low-level officials, congressional aides. You end up with low-level White House aides addressing you.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, you won't achieve anything. You remember the photograph of Ribado and the U.S. Secretary for War and Defense, Pete Hegseth.
Yes, Hegseth.
That photograph looked like, the man maybe just stepped out of his office and met with Ribado
Yes.
on the corridor.
Yes.
I just told him, okay, I understand, all right. Okay, you can sign the visas register.
You don't see our president's picture in Copem this January. I don't think they really circulated it.
Abu Dhabi
yes, now.
Sustainability Week.
Is it not climate change you go and do there every January?
Yes.
They say he's the only president that's there.
And he said he signed an agreement. So that shows you how these people have lost it.
I
They don't even know what they're doing.
I don't think that they're doing anything for us, to be honest. I think that they're just doing whatever it is for personal aggrandizement.
But at
That's
least
what
do
I
something
think.
that makes sense now, because even Macron, his friend Emmanuel Macron, is even facing serious problems.
Yes, now.
He can't appoint a prime minister.
He's losing.
But at
the
least
government
Macron is just
collapsing.
managing here and there. He's managing here and there. But he himself is not doing anything at all. All he just fixated on is 2027. And the images of Tinubu I saw at this summit, look, if you were my father, I would just advise him, just go and take care of your health. Manage the the remaining 2 years of your first term.
And go home.
The successor and support and go home.
What did he come and do at 70 going on 80 in the first
Because you
instance?
are old.
If it was not just about
You are old.
It's his turn.
You are
That man is over 80 years. That man is
There
over
are accounts that is 86.
Can you imagine?
Yes, there are accounts that is 86.
80 years.
Yeah,
So,
let's go.
I mean, so
He didn't come to do anything. He came to waste Nigeria. That's what he came to do. To waste
just
what is
to
left.
satisfy his personal ambition that he presided over. Okay, he has now presided. Thank you.
Is that not enough?
Enough?
A goodbye.
Anything that makes him to return again is going to take our population to 90% poverty rate.
It's for us to just jackpot to
You say no.
Let's just
And
jackpot to
that 90% will swallow. That 90%
They will
will
eat
swallow
up the remaining 10%.
If he wins again in the next 2-3 years,
It's to jackpot
It should
to
not even wrong, because his priorities
Nigeria
are
will be like
misplaced.
Afghanistan. In the next 2
I say we just jackpot to Togo. Oh.
Well, the data boys might disagree with all of this. They always have
No, they will also be
excuses.
paying 7.5%.
They are paying them.
So by the time their money gets reduced, they are 20,000 urgent K. They are urgent 20,000 every month.
Would not be
gets
would not be
reduced.
20K.
No, don't forget to. Out of the 20K, they're going to lose 7.5%. By the time it starts getting reduced,
When they are even paid
They'll
to
get
do
the
what
mo-
they are
they'll
doing, if
get
they
the
don't
memo.
do the work, they won't even get the 20K minus the VAT safe. They won't get it at all. So they are doing their own work. Because the rest of us will have our
they are not
share.
doing any work. Do you know what they do? Somebody will just type something.
And all
And
of
then
them copy
will
and
just
paste.
copy and paste.
But they
Copy
will
and
use
paste.
their own personal page now. That's what they are paid to do.
But the money will be reduced now.
I'm saying that is what they are paid. So we should not even look at them
At all.
for doing their own work.
all.
The rest of us should just have our heads screwed on tight. That's all.
Well, very wonderful one. But that's a wrap on the Middleman Show for today. We hope you enjoy our conversation. Until next time, stay informed and stay engaged. We are at Enterprise at TV7 across social media platforms. From Julius and I, bye-bye for now.
Julia Evans, wave now.
Middleman. 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 Middleman.